Meantime, let's take you live via Skype. Let's speak to CNN anchor Robyn Kriel, a former colleague of ours here at ENCA. Robyn is in Ethiopia and joins us now. She has covered Kenya quite extensively. Robyn, from where you are, watching these scenes coming out of Nairobi, what are you able to piece together, talking to the various sources that you've been able to talk to?
Well, this is where this seems like classic Al-Shabaab. From what we can tell from the scene, there was a loud explosion, and then gunmen in some form, in some fashion, entered this hotel, this luxury upscale hotel in Nairobi, frequented by tourists, frequented by wealthy Kenyans as well. And this would be what you would see in sort of Mogadishu. There have been dozens of hotel attacks in Mogadishu of the exact same modus operandi, a large bomb at first to enter the facility, and then gunmen going in to really raise the death toll, as it were. And as far as I can remember, I was last in Kenya in 2016, and as far as I can remember, the Dusit Hotel did have it looks like fairly adequate security back then. Of course, 2016 was a time, and it's been a few years since Kenya has seen an attack like this, such as the Westgate attack, which we reported on extensively on ENCA back in 2013. I just should also mention to us, and I apologize if you've already informed your viewers of this, but this is 3-year anniversary. January 16th, tomorrow morning, very, very early, is the 3-year anniversary since the attack on Kenyan soldiers, the KDF fighting in Mogadishu. Al-Shabaab, in a similar fashion, breached a military base and killed, from our reporting and from our investigation, around 141 Kenyan soldiers in that attack. It was a devastating attack, one largely not admitted to by the Kenyan government. And I believe this is 3 years. This is would be difficult to believe that this would be any kind of coincidences, and we know from past reporting and past investigation that groups like Al-Shabaab enjoy doing things on significant anniversaries.
Robyn, you covered the attack on Westgate Mall in 2013 quite exceptionally at the time. When you look at the scenes that we are seeing now, of course, I mean, what we've been saying is that in the past few years, you've not seen major attacks by Al-Shabaab in a sort of major sort of city such as Nairobi. When you look at the scenes that have been playing out today, what are some of the memories that it brings back of your coverage of Westgate Mall?
Well, I can tell you one thing, Tulas, that filled me with relief. That was the fact that who we believe to be the recce unit, those are sort of your tactical tier 1 reconnaissance unit that work for the Kenyan police. And they typically, back in 2013 when the Westgate attack happened, they were typically focused on bank robberies. But we know since that attack, which they responded to fairly quickly as well, we know that they have been trained, they armed, they've been given a lot of resources from a number of different foreign entities such as the U.S. We understand other governments as well have been involved in trying to equip them to make them better able to handle attacks like this, because the Westgate attack was quite poorly handled. The recce unit were sent in. They couldn't get to Westgate very quickly because of the traffic. They didn't have helicopters and adequate ways and means to reach a scene such as a terror attack, which can last minutes but can cause devastation. And then they were replaced by the military about halfway through, and it was just a debacle after that happened. However, what we did see in this attack, it's fairly early on, and I need to go back and look at the video. There was a BBC correspondent who was tweeting video from the scene of these recce unit going in. They were plainclothes, so they would have gone in pretty quick. And hopefully, with all of their training, and we do understand they are very, very well trained and equipped as well, they would have been able to handle it a lot faster. That was part of the real tragedy of Westgate, is that it took so long. It was an 80-hour siege where we could hear the gunfire erupting over and over and over again in Westlands for days, helicopters flying overhead. So hopefully this, and the key to a terror attack such as this, is to get it as quickly as possible to try and mitigate, stop the terrorists as fast as possible to make sure they cannot get to everyone in the hotel. I'm not sure how many people were in the hotel at the time.
Robyn, what you're giving us, I mean, the line is not the greatest, but what you're giving us is valuable information in terms of your recollection of the response to the Westgate Mall attack and the sort of a coordination or lack thereof, which was criticized at that particular time of the various security agencies. For instance, the whole argument over who is in charge of responding to this particular scene. Talk to me then about developments since then, the General Service Unit taking to the forefront of responding to terror attacks. What's that been like in terms of practice on the ground, responding to terror attacks and the politics thereof, of trying to curb terrorism, in terms of the criticism that the Kenyan government and its security officials faced at a particular point of indiscriminate targeting of people of Somali descent and also some Muslims?
Yes, there's been tremendous outcry for, as you said, indiscriminate targeting in some cases by the Kenyan police and other and the KF as well. However, you have also seen a tremendous success story coming from the Kenyan police, particularly its sort of SWAT teams, its Tier 1 type level, those guys that would be the door kicker that would go in immediately when a terror attack such as this occurs. So you've seen a number of terror attacks thwarted as well. There was, I believe, one back in February, which terrorists were planning, and they were able to, and due to Kenyan intelligence, they were able to stop those attacks, and there have been a number of those as well. So let's give the Kenyans credit where it's due, because they have managed to thwart a number of attacks, and also, according to my sources and from Western diplomats, folks working with units such as the Recce unit, who would be the first responders to go in and essentially neutralize, to kill these terrorists as the attack has begun. They have done a great job as well. But you do have, of course, the other flip side of it, that they're accused of being extremely heavy-handed, of being indiscriminate as well, as not giving a fair judicial process to a number of the people who are picked up by these units and accused of plotting terrorism or being a part of a terrorist group. And a number of civil rights groups such as Amnesty International, Human Rights Watch have spoken out in detail about some of these arbitrary, in some cases, arrests. If you'll remember, Tulas, the Garissa University attack, which was I believe it was in 2015 in which a number of young students in Garissa, that's northern Kenya, were killed by al-Shabaab.
Robyn, our line is deteriorating. Thank you so much there for your time. That is CNN anchor Robyn Kriel, a former colleague of ours, joining us.